William Blake, voted 38 in the list of top 100 Britons of all time. Blake produced a diverse and symbolically rich collection of works. Welcome to On the Hunt. Largely unrecognised during his life, Blake is now considered a seminal figure in the history of the poetry and visual art of the Romantic Age. Although Blake was considered mad by contemporaries for his idiosyncratic views, he is held in high regard by later critics for his expressiveness and creativity, and for the philosophical and mystical undercurrents within his work. His paintings and poetry have been characterised as part of the Romantic movement and as pre-Romantic. In fact, he has been said to be a key early proponent of both Romanticism and nationalism. A committed Christian who was hostile to the Church of England, Blake was influenced by the ideals and ambitions of the French and American revolutions. William Blake was born on 28th of November 1757 at 28 Broad Street in Soho, London. He was the third of 7 children, 2 of whom died in infancy. Blake's father, James, was a hosier who had come to London from Ireland. He attended school only long enough to learn reading and writing, leaving at the age of 10, and was otherwise educated at home by his mother, Catherine Blake. Even though the Blakes were English dissenters, William was baptised on the 11th of December at St James's Church, Piccadilly, London. On the 4th of August 1772, Blake was apprenticed to engraver James Bassire of Great Queen Street at the sum of £52.10 for a term of 7 years. At the end of the term, aged 21, he became a professional engraver. No record survives of any serious disagreement of conflict between the two during the period of Blake's apprenticeship, but Peter Ackroyd's biography notes that he added Bassire's name to a list of artistic adversaries, which he later crossed out. On 8th of October 1779, Blake became a student at the Royal Academy in Old Somerset House, near the Strand. While the terms of his study required no payment, he was expected to supply his own materials throughout the 6-year period. There, he rebelled against what he regarded as the unfinished style of fashionable painters such as the Rubens, championed by the school's first president, Joshua Reynolds. Over time, Blake came to detest Reynolds' attitude towards art, especially his pursuit of general truth and general beauty. This next bit is fantastic. Blake's first biographer, Alexander Gilchrist, records that in June 1780, Blake was walking towards Bassire's shop in Great Queen Street when he was swept up by a rampaging mob that stormed Newgate Prison. The mob attacked the prison gates with shovels and pickaxes, set the building ablaze, and released the prisoners inside. Blake was reportedly in the front rank of the mob during the attack. The riots, in response to a parliamentary bill revoking sanctions against Roman Catholicism, became known as the Gordon Riots and provoked a flurry of legislation from the government of George III and the creation of the first police force. In 1781, Blake met Catherine Boucher when he was recovering from a relationship that had culminated in a refusal of his marriage proposal. He recounted the story of his heartbreak for Catherine and her parents, after which he asked Catherine, "Do you pity me?" When she responded affirmatively, he declared, then I love you. Blake married Catherine, who was 5 years his junior, on 18th of August 1782 in St Mary's Church, Battersea. Illiterate, Catherine signed her wedding contract with an X. The original wedding certificate may be viewed at the church, where a commemorative stained glass window was installed between 1976 and 1982. Later, in addition to teaching Catherine to read and write, Blake trained her as an engraver. Throughout his life she proved a valuable aid, helping to print his illuminated works and maintaining his spirits throughout numerous misfortunes. Blake's marriage to Catherine was close and devoted until his death. Blake taught Catherine to write, and she helped him colour his poems. Gilchrist refers to stormy times in the early years of the marriage. In his dictionary, Samuel Foster Damon suggests that Catherine may have had a stillborn daughter, for which the Book of Thel is an elegy. That is how he rationalises the book's unusual ending, but notes that he is speculating. Around 1783, Blake's first collection of poems, Poetical Sketches, was printed. In 1784, after his father's death, Blake and former fellow apprentice James Parker opened a print shop, and they began working with radical publisher Joseph Johnson. Johnson's house was a meeting place for some leading English intellectual dissidents of the time: theologian and scientist Joseph Priestley, philosopher Richard Price, artist John Henry Fuseli, early feminist Mary Wollstonecraft, and English-American revolutionary Thomas Paine. Along with William Wordsworth and William Godwin, Blake had great hopes for the French and American revolutions. Blake's trouble with authority came to a head in August 1803 when he was involved in a physical altercation with a soldier, John Schofield. Blake was charged not only with assault but with uttering seditious and treasonable expressions against the king. Schofield claimed that Blake had exclaimed, "Damn the king, the soldiers are all slaves." Blake was cleared of the charges. Schofield was later depicted wearing mind-forged manacles in an illustration to Jerusalem, the emanation of the giant Albion. Blake returned to London in 1804 and began to write and illustrate Jerusalem, his most ambitious work. In 1818 he was introduced by George Cumberland's son to a young artist named John Linnell. Through Linnell he met Samuel Palmer, who belonged to a group of artists who called themselves the Shoreham Ancients. The group shared Blake's rejection of modern trends and his belief in a spiritual and artistic new age. The commission for Dante's Divine Comedy came to Blake in 1826 through Linnell, with the aim of producing a series of engravings. Blake's death in 1827 cut short the enterprise, and only a handful of watercolours were completed, with only 7 of the engravings arriving at proof form. Even so, they have earned praise. Blake's last years were spent at Fountain Court off the Strand, now the Savoy Hotel. On the day of his death, 12th of August 1827, Blake worked relentlessly on his Dante series. Eventually, it is reported, he ceased working and turned to his wife, who was in tears by his bedside. Beholding her, Blake is said to have cried, "Stay, Kate, just as you are. I will draw your portrait, for you have ever been an angel to me." Having completed this portrait, now lost, Blake laid down his tools and began to sing hymns and verses. At 6 that evening, after promising his wife that he would be with her always, Blake died. Gilchrist reports that a female lodger in the house present at his expiration said, "I have been at the death, not of a man, but of a blessed angel." As always, it has been difficult trying to get a decent location for this video. It's so difficult to get people or companies to agree to have me shoot overnight, these videos overnight. But tonight I am going to try something new. Tonight's hunt will actually be taking place in an old London tavern. The Coal Hole Tavern is actually situated just behind where his house would have stood. It's been demolished now, but where his house would have stood, the Coal Hole Tavern where I'm filming, is just behind that, and it's an interior location. So we'll see what happens. Described by the tape, Blake lived in 2 rooms on the first floor of 3 Fountain Court, a red brick house, from 1821 until his death in 1827. He was very poor and frankly admitted that he lived in a hole. He consoled himself, however, with the thought that God had a beautiful mansion for him elsewhere. It was here that Blake produced his illustrations to Dante's Divine Comedy and the Book of Job. Fountain Court no longer exists, but was just situated behind the Coal Hole Tavern on the Strand. From the steps behind the tavern you can enjoy a view of the Thames, described by Blake as looking like a bar of gold. So with all of that being said, let's go on the hunt for William Blake. Alright guys, I'm really hoping that you can hear me. I'm in a pub and everyone's just finished work and it's really busy. So as you can see, I'm trying to do this as secretively as possible, so I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to start with the K2. It's going to be really difficult to focus and establish any kind of connection and communication. However, one thing I do have in my favour is that I'm filming this on Halloween, which is when spirits are supposed to be the most active, so I guess that might counterbalance it. We are in the Coal Hole, which is just next to the site where the house that he died in would have stood. It's been demolished now, but we're as close as we can get, I suppose. So let's start with the K2 and see what we can come up with. If the spirit of William Blake can hear my voice, can you touch this green one and make it go to red?
Yeah, so Morgan Stanley bought a train, and so I came from Morgan Stanley.
Thank you.
They bought me 2 years ago.
Thank you, I see that you're here.
What's that?
Thank you. Can you make it go further to red? Thank you. I see that you're here. Thank you for establishing communication with me. During your life, your poetry hadn't reached as many people as it has now. Are you aware of how big your work has become in the modern day? Thank you. Thank you. Are you proud? Are you proud of the... Thank you, thank you. If you're here, can you stop? Make this go to green, back to green.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a bear in my mouth.
Thank you. Are you proud of how you're... Thank you. Of how I was... Yeah, okay, thank you. Are you here with Catherine? Make it go to red if you're here with Catherine. One more time. Thank you.
The culture at Warren is very different, right? So I was looking for something that's specific to tree culture, which is around tech collaboration, partnership.
Are you with Catherine? No. Make it go to red if you're with Catherine. No. Yes. Okay, I think because... Can you make it go to red and then back to green just once? Just make it peak once. So so I know that it is you that's communicating with us. If you're with Catherine, can you make this go to red if you're here with us? And then back to green. If you're with Catherine, can you make it go red and then back to green?
Find the guys that do, the rest of the you know this better than
Because we're in a pub, I don't know if you can hear this because I'm talking really low and trying not to draw attention to myself, but because we're in a pub, I don't know if there are other things that could be messing with the K2 right now. So I don't know if I can do the spirit box here just because there's people on the table next to me. But I'm going to do the flashlight at least and go from there. If the spirit of William Blake is still here with me, can you turn on this flashlight? It's the spirit of William Blake. Thank you. Thank you. Are you still with your wife Catherine in the afterlife? Are you with your wife Catherine? Thank you. Are you at rest in the afterlife? Turn this torch off if you are. Turn this torch off if you're not at rest in the afterlife. I'm sorry to hear that. If you have a message for modern day poets, can you turn on the torch? Thank you. Okay guys, so I said I couldn't get closer. I found an alleyway that is literally situated where his house would have been. So I'm in an alleyway, as you can see, and I got the spirit box because in the pub, the message I got was that William Blake had a message for modern day poets. I don't know how much this is going to work. Again, I'm just trusting this whole time that you can even hear what I'm saying. Obviously with Christina Rossetti, everything. Huh? Oh, 1 second, I got security. Okay guys, I just got stopped by security, but he was really nice. I work security as well, so I know how it goes. I'm just going to quickly fire up the spirit box because, as I was just saying before he got stopped, in the pub, apparently there's a message from William Blake. So I just want to see if we can pick anything up from the spirit box. I don't know what the audio is like. There is a fan just next to me. There is a fan just next to me, so it might be drowning me out right now. It might drown out the spirit box. So what I'll do is I'll do the same as what I did in the pub, where I'll just set the camera on the spirit box and we'll go from there. Okay guys, we're going to start the spirit box now. The spirit of the poet William Blake is here with me now. Can you speak through this spirit box and let me know that you're still here? If the spirit of the poet William Blake is still here with me right now, please speak through this spirit box. In the pub, you said you had a message for modern poets. Can you tell me what that message is through this spirit box right now? Can you let me know what that message is through the spirit box right now? If you're still here with me, I know that there has been responses already through this spirit box, but I'm finding it very hard to hear. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to give your message to the modern world and modern poets. Now. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay guys, I am going to go back and edit this video and get it out for Halloween. I can't hear a thing with the aircon unit just behind me. Again, this is the problem with filming out in public and not having a private space. It's so hard, but when I edit it, I'm going to listen back to all the responses. I know that the static stopped quite a few times, so I will listen to it back 3 or 4 times, well, as many times as it takes to try and decipher what results we got. But in the meantime, that is the season finale of On the Hunt Season 1. I hope you enjoyed this journey, and I will catch you next time. Peace.